Hey guys, it's Will and Stephanie, and today we're gonna have like a couch talk discussion, a couch convo kind of video, and we're gonna talk about how the little things add up tremendously, almost like the snowball effect, where it starts very small and small things, and you're adding little by little, but then it's rolling down this hill, and then all of a sudden you have this ginormous snowball. I mean, that's what it is. So these little things, and this isn't necessarily a marriage-specific video, or the topic at least. It's not a marriage-specific. This video is marriage-specific, but this topic doesn't necessarily mean this can be in your relationships, like outside of a marriage or a significant other relationship,
dating, fiance, or even friendship.
Right, it can be friendships, but it could also be your family members. It could be, it could happen in serving, like in church or something like that. It could also be things when you're in like coworkers and things like that. But kind of the topic is, like we said, how little things build up to make great impact. So, kind of the idea is, I've seen on social media some videos of the difference between just like one thing, but the slight difference. And kind of going into the first one that I would super agree with, because sometimes, like in No Fault to Stephanie, like if she's sick or like she's in a time test when I get home from work, when I am working, recovering from an ankle break and surgery, but if she's sick or she's doing that, she can't show her excitement as much because she's like focused in on that, or she's sick and she's going to recover. No fault to her, not saying that. But like the video was like the significant other coming in, and it was like, hey babe, and they were just like, oh hey, and like kept scrolling or kept reading or kept doing whatever. Now like if you're doing a time test, like I get that school's very important,
and I've done what he's about to explain.
Yes, and she does this. That's why I said, in No Fault to Stephanie, there's a few times where she's been doing that or she's been sick. But like the other video was like, hey, or they run up and give him a hug.
Yeah, I like running up to him
or whatever.
And like him holding me, which I don't know if he'll be able to do that. Leave that for a while, but I can at least like run up and give you a hug.
Oh, exactly. You know, and I like pick her up or whatever, and things like that. Like the thing about that, you know, you might not think it's big a difference, but walking in, especially just being like in from work, and you're just like, okay, we're done with that. And you walk in, and it's like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad to see you. You know, that makes a difference.
It makes me feel like I'm making him feel important. And also, like, it helps the person who's doing it, too, because after you do it, like, it makes you feel more connected to that person.
Right.
And after you give them a hug and everything, it makes you realize, like, how much you miss them and how important they are to you. And it just makes you feel more connected, like, for the evening and nighttime.
Oh, yeah. So, another thing that I think is very important that I didn't understand. So, I'll go through that. Growing up, you know, my grandfather, my dad, really didn't get flowers for my grandmother or my mom. You know, you'd be like, here, I got it for you to gift your mother for Mother's Day, stuff like that. But, you know, really wasn't something. So I didn't really see that. So I didn't really understand why flowers were such a big deal. I'm like, they're going to die. So you're going to spend money on something that's going to die. Like, what? Like, oh, and like when I was younger, I was like, oh, I'm going to profess my love to you by getting you something that's going to die.
Oh my gosh.
Unlike my love. And I'm like, what? That don't make sense. And logically, I mean, to me, it didn't make sense. You're going to buy something that's going to die, or it's kind of dead, but you kind of keep it alive. Like it's dead. It's going to wither up and be terrible. And to me, you know, that never made sense until we were dating, and I didn't get flowers. So actually, to start dating, I got her Lego flowers, and that was cool, you know. But like, I didn't really get flowers, so I didn't understand it. So, come to
really quickly, in his head though, I think, which I'm not you, but this is what he told me at least. He thought like since he got Lego flowers, they were like permanent, so that's all he needed.
Right. Well, and I didn't understand, but like, and I didn't understand the importance of flowers, but like for Valentine's Day, I got like, you know, got chocolate and those type of things. But the flowers just kind of went over my head. But then I saw how it made Stephanie feel. Well, then I went and got flowers.
I started crying.
Yeah. But I went and got flowers and everything. And then I understood when I gave it to her because it switched like that. Then I just went and picked up flowers and brought them home one day. The next, when those were bad. And I can't describe like the smile that she had on her face for the next day and a half. And at that point, I understood the importance of the flowers. So it's one of those things, like if you're in a relationship, don't be one of those people that's like, they didn't give me flowers, red flag. Like if you've talked about it and they didn't get you, that's one thing. But like,
that's the thing, we hadn't talked about it, so how is he supposed to know if I never said it? And that's the thing that I've struggled with. Just really quickly, PSA to girls out there or guys, I struggled with, I wouldn't tell him anything because I didn't want to like make him feel like I had these high expectations or make him feel bad or anything. But at the end of the day, it was like doing myself dirty, because how is he supposed to know? I'm expecting him to know something I'm never communicating. He can't read my mind.
Right. And those are some of the things that, it wasn't like, oh, every issue we just never talked about nothing. It was just some issues that she thought I knew and I didn't, and we've worked through those. But so next, another thing I think is really important with like the small things that add up, has to do with like service and like going to your strengths. So one thing that I like to do is I like to cook, and so I'll cook and I'll do those things, and it's understanding that I'm cooking for us, and it's not, oh well, I'm just cooking for her and I'm just and stuff like that. But knowing that like there's been times where she was like, there was one time that she was sick and she was like, I just want garlic mashed potatoes. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll see what I can do. And I closed the door, and like 30 minutes later, I walk in and I'm like, here you go. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I made garlic mashed potatoes. And like I'm telling you, she felt better just from that. Started to feel better. So, and like I'm saying, like that's something that's a little more, but like that's the thing, is that marriage specifically, if the husband is doing everything he can to serve the wife, while the wife is doing everything she can to serve the husband, you're too busy doing and fulfilling their needs that you don't feel like your needs are being met, because like your focus is to do that.
Yeah, you're thinking about others, and that's why marriage like is a lot of selflessness. But also it's like if he's able to make supper while I do the dishes, or help him with something, like if you use your strengths and it helps, like it may take me way longer to cook supper, and that's time that we could save with him doing it, or it may not taste as good, but if I help around the house doing something else, that could be beneficial as well.
And I've heard before, we really want to talk about this in another video, like more in depth, but like marriage isn't 50-50. It's like 100 and 100, but like it's really like you don't give your side of the effort and their side of the effort, and your things are set in stone, like you come home and you're like, look, I am exhausted, I'm wore out, and your partner's like, I got you, I'm gonna help you, kind of thing.
And some days you're sick, some days you're not feeling good.
Right.
But also another one I was thinking of is like something as simple as like opening the car door as well. Just, I think that's very like respectful, and it doesn't mean like, oh, the person is, there's like a stereotype nowadays where it's like the person is like, well, they don't think you're capable of opening a door. Okay.
Well,
obviously,
the thing about,
we know we're capable of opening a door. We've done it for all the years before we've met them, but it just shows that they care, and it's like special.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like if somebody truly believes they're opening a door to give you or make them a superiority complex or something, then yeah, that's not good. And if you're trying to be in a relationship with that's not a good idea. But truly, like especially like if you're a Christian, having a servant's heart does not mean you want to be better than somebody or be like, I'm superior to you. It's literally saying just like Jesus washed the disciples' feet, it's like saying like let me humble myself to the point of doing for you before me. So when I go out, open the car door for Stephanie, let her in, and then get in. And that's the thing, is that...
And it like shows you early on that they're like willing to do something and stick to it, and they truthfully care, and they're thinking about you. Yeah. It like shows they're like protecting you, caring about you, thinking about you. I've never opened a car door before he broke his leg once since we were dating. Now I've opened his car door a couple of times, and he still has tried to hobble over and open my car door as well.
Whenever I was on the crutches, I'd be able to do that. But anyways, so with the car door, real quick, kind of going back just to like the flowers, like if like there's some people that are like, yes, that is a non-negotiable, and like sometimes people haven't grown up with that, so like they don't know. So that is something to talk about before. Don't be like, whoa, he didn't open my car door on the first date. And
it's just like know. Early on you should talk about your boundaries of like the lines you don't want to cross. Maybe talk about some of that stuff too, because again, if you never say it, they're not going to know.
Right. And it's just like people say, like people spend so much time preparing for a wedding and not marriage. In the same way, like when you're dating, you prepare so much for boundaries of like, and typically it's boundaries about going too far physically, but there's no like things of like talking about other than just boundaries. It's like, okay, what are things like I enjoy and stuff?
And
like
I think
those
that's
are good
why
topics.
Marriage can hit people so hard sometimes, is because they never asked those questions, or they never said anything, and then like bam, it's like you haven't talked about a lot of stuff, like even your expectations that you have. Now sometimes the first year can just be hard because whatever. I don't know what I'm saying.
What you're trying to say is that this first year has been tough because we have had a lot of trials.
This first year has been hard for us because we've gone through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of like
it wasn't because of lack of
communication.
Well, it wasn't a lack of talking and preparing for marriage. There was just a lot of things that hit us, through sickness, injury.
That you can't prepare for.
Right. Like it's, sickness and the injury. It's a problem that we had. Out something smelly.
You let out a stink bomb.
I did not let out a stink bomb.
It smells like a silent killer.
Oh well, hey, at least it's a silent killer. At least it's that good. But no, anyways, but like I said, and it's the text. It's the in the middle of the day, just the hey, I love you, hope you have a good day. Kind of text and stuff like that. So. Yeah. We could probably ramble on for another hour about the little things, but it's the compliments and it's the words of building up.
Honestly, like really texting too, even when you're married, sometimes you don't do that as much. But like before he broke his leg, like if he was at work and said something like, you got this, you're doing so good, like that made me so happy. Yeah. And like made me motivated. Yeah. To do
and that's the thing. Like I said, it's the little things. Walk in, hey, how are you? I'm so glad to see you. And not brush that off. In the same way, and I'm not saying that you're bad if you don't do these things. I'm just saying, I've had to be more cautious, or, just think about it to know that I am really serving my wife in the best way possible. Texting her when I can, getting flowers, things like that. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to go buy a bunch of stuff. I mean, look, Publix has a build your own bouquet, like 3 for $12. Like you can get some good stuff in there. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't got to spend a ton to have it
and
flourish.
Opening the car door is free.
Right,
so.
Stuff like that. And it's the little things that really help with it, because like if you think about it, like if you only focused on the big things like a vacation or an anniversary dinner, like you're gonna be waiting a year for another anniversary dinner.
The small things too, like for instance, if I'm on my period or I'm sick, like it means so much to me that he like is going to fill my water cup, or does get me to the heating pad, or does get me chocolate or food or something. Like that makes me feel so loved.
Right. So basically this was just kind of a conversation to kind of highlight that those are some of the specific things in our marriage, but that the small things really do build up and help throughout the marriage. When trials come, don't let those things go by the wayside. Don't put them on back burner. Still do them. They're still important. But yeah, the small things really build up. to big things. So that's all that we have. We would love for you to stay with us. Come to another video, whatever. Click on it when it pops up and stay with us. But here's the thing: if you're not going to do that, or even if you are, subscribe, because YouTube may or may not recommend it to you. And listen, we know there are a lot of people that watch the videos that aren't subscribed. So just go ahead and subscribe. It's free. Another thing, you got to spend a lot. Just subscribe. But anyways, we'd love to see you in the next video. This is Will and Stephanie. We'll see you in that one. Bye.